What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here from DataDash, and today is October 14th of 2024. Well, folks, I hope you all are having a fantastic day wherever you are, because in today's video, I want to emphasize that it's time to finally start paying attention to Bitcoin and altcoins. The broader crypto market is finally, after multiple months of stagnation and no significant price action, and many altcoins facing a lot of losses, we are finally starting to see the signs of optimism returning. And I want to talk about what we're not only going to be looking out for price in order to start making some moves, but beyond that, where the opportunities lie in the altcoin space, where we can actually make substantial returns. We got a lot to unpack here in today's video. If you guys happen to enjoy it, consider dropping a like, grab a cup of coffee, and let's go ahead and dive in. Now, the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is, as we're talking about potentially finding some altcoin setups or general trade setups in the market and talking about some price levels to watch for, one really critical thing to utilize in order to filter out a lot of the noise is a screener tool, a tool that's going to allow you to get insights, research, and be able to pinpoint particular cryptos that are showing the most critical elements, which are price action setups. And that's why I want to spend some time to talk about altfins. Now, some of you might remember altfins. We've talked about altfins on the channel before. They're our sponsor for today's video. I just want to let you guys know about altfins because it's one of the most powerful tools when it comes to screening opportunities in the crypto industry, looking for potential technical patterns and setups, as well as getting potential bullish or bearish setups to be able to set long or short positions in the market. But beyond that, there are a lot of other features that you get with altcoins. Not only do you have the crypto screener, where you can set particular parameters across thousands of different cryptocurrencies, looking for particular patterns, looking for momentum, overall top performance in the market. There's a whole range of different metrics we can gauge on when utilizing altfins as a platform to find meme coins, as well as other plays that are doing well. But beyond that, you've also got things, for example, like the research hub that gives you particular research pieces that the team puts together on a whole range of new emerging altcoins, so you can find the strong fundamental plays in the market. And outside of that as well, they've also got their trading course feature that allows you to learn all the essentials you need to know around trading in the crypto space, broken up in a clean, concise course. I definitely recommend you guys check it out. And if you guys are interested for signing up for altfins, you can use my link down below to get 50% off on any of the plans, whether you want to try it on a monthly basis, yearly, or a lifetime basis. So use the code DATADASH on the coupon code section down below if you want to apply that coupon discount and check out the platform. But you can always try it out for free as well. They have the starter plan, and it's a great place to start to just get familiar with some of the basic features of the platform. Anyways, I wanted to go ahead here, guys, and let you know that I think it's really time to start focusing on paying attention for Bitcoin. If we take a look here on the daily time frame, we are starting to see some very important improvements in price. The first thing I want to signify here is the ability for Bitcoin to finally hold in the 200-day pocket. This used to be support for Bitcoin back in the past. But since back in July, we not only started to break below the 200-day, but it even started to act as resistance. So you can see the blue lines here weighing down price multiple times. Anytime we got slightly above it, we would fade back down and correct below the 200-day, not to mention the 21-day moving average, which was not a good look for bulls. But now that is starting to shift. We are getting above the 200-day pocket, and along with that, when we got up above here the last time and dipped into it, we were actually able to hold it as support, whereas the other times we faded right through it without any serious bid side support from the bulls. Now we're seeing that change, and that is a very positive sign. It doesn't mean that I think Bitcoin is going to 200K or some really far out number. It does mean, though, that the bulls are in charge and that they could drive prices to around the 75K, 80K, 90K range, which is what we're really going to be targeting here. If you guys haven't seen it already, for generally what we think is possible here for Bitcoin, considering the diminishing returns that are coming with each cycle and that kind of traditional definition, I think we're kind of seeing a break of cycle theory. We're not going to see those exponential returns. I do believe that there's a chance that Bitcoin comes up here to the $90,000 range. It's basically taking in mind the two prior highs from back here in 2020. I think that's going to be a big psychological level. I think a lot of people are going to be waiting for 100K. I don't think it's going to get all the way there as we saw back in the prior cycle. It's going to trap a lot of people. But in the meantime, if you're smart about it and you can trade when the momentum starts to return, as we're seeing here on the biweekly chart or on the monthly chart, doesn't really matter which one you're looking at, you can start to see we're setting those higher lows and higher highs. We're getting back above those moving averages. I think there's an easy chance to see Bitcoin do a roughly 40% move from this point on. And that's going to open up some really good opportunities, not only in Bitcoin's price, for those who might want to take a kind of 2x leverage position, make sure they have good risk management, but beyond that, also looking at the altcoin space. And I don't recommend you touch leverage here because I think there's plenty of genuinely good opportunities out there as the momentum is starting to return here. The price action is starting to showcase that inflows are outpacing outflows, and that is all we need to know. That's all we need to know whether or not it's time to get into the altcoin market. We're not worried about fundamentals. We understand the market is lacking in fundamentals. It's a matter now of momentum in price. And we are a good distance away, about $140 billion in market cap from where we were back in March for the altcoin space. To put that in perspective, if we return to that level, that's a 64% return for the broader altcoin sector as a whole. Meaning we've got a long ways to go, and it's very likely that we'll probably go a little bit above the prior highs back in March in this run-up. So that could mean we come back to the prior all-time high in altcoins, coming around here around a 90% to around 120% return if we're using the absolute highs from November 2021. That could give us some really good opportunities. Now, the question we have to ask ourselves here is if we are seeing this return of optimism both in Bitcoin but also in altcoins, and we are starting to see that other coin dominance, or the altcoin space, has been actually increasing in dominance and is holding so far in its 7-year-long line of support. It's more than 7 years ago. I can't believe it. We've been covering crypto for a long time. But the main thing I wanted to emphasize here is that if that's holding, where is the opportunity going to be? Right? And this is where I want to break down into sector analysis, because I know a lot of people would say, Nick, just give me the best altcoin in this case. And we'll talk about some of them as we go through the video. I definitely want to give you guys some names. But there's a lot of key narratives in this cycle. And on CoinMarketCap, there's actually a really cool feature that I don't see a lot of people using that indexes a lot of the major sectors in the crypto space. One of them that I wanted to emphasize here is meme coins. And I understand that this is obviously controversial. Some people don't like meme coins from a fundamental perspective. But guys, at the end of the day, as we talked about it in January of this year. We did a really great I think it was back in January, February, March, we did a meme coin trading tutorial. At the end of the day, guys, it's all about momentum. It's all about being able to enter and exit, being able to buy low and sell high and make profit in the market. At least that's what crypto's at right now, right? So we're not trying so hard to look for fundamentals. We're trying to find plays that are going to allow us to really multiply our capital. And meme coins have already started to build the foundation. They had a clear double bottom here on August 6th and September 7th. So a month where we had this nice structural accumulation pattern, and now we're coming back up to the relative highs from back in September 29th here as we're going into mid-October. This is a beautiful structure in my opinion. This is exactly what I want to see, and it's one of the best performing sectors from those lows. Not to mention, it is a space where you can have a lot of small and mid caps that have the markets of scale potential. Meme coins are purely speculative in nature. They are momentum driven, and there are very clear ways to trade these names by utilizing the 9, 21, and 50 EMAs on the 4-hour time frame. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, I definitely recommend you look up our meme coin trading strategy guide on the YouTube channel. It's for free. You guys can check it out. That is really how I go about trading meme coins. These are fast running moves. You don't have to risk all your capital, but instead you can have a small portion of your capital. What's great is that you can risk something as little as 5 to 10%, and with that, be able to make crazy multiples for your overall portfolio where you're still making great returns. So you don't have to go all in here, right? I'm just saying, above all, I think meme coins are going to be where it's at. I think people realize this is late stage crypto, that there's just nothing more than speculation here, and that's okay. Just accept it for what it is, right? We can't get caught in the philosophy of, oh, we need strong fundamentals. At the end of the day, guys, crypto has been lacking fundamentals for a while. Speaking of also other hot narratives in the market, AI, big data, DeepIn, you name it, whatever you want to call the narrative in this case. Generally, the AI trade has been also another strong player. In fact, it was the strongest one out of the initial recovery from the pullback in August. We pulled back from around $45 billion, went all the way down to $18 billion, and have seen a lot of strength coming back in, mainly due, from my understanding, from plays like Fetch. Plays like Fetch have really led back the rebound here and have basically given us the foundation to showcase that, hey, so long as NVIDIA is showing confidence, so long as the AI trade is there in equities, it's likely going to follow in crypto. We are seeing a whole range of other plays. You also have Tau or BitTensor, which has helped in this recovery as well. I like to buy into strength. I know a lot of you might be kind of confused and wondering, why would we buy something that's already rallied this much? Shouldn't we focus on narratives like real world assets that haven't rallied as much off the lows? Or for example, gaming as a sector in the crypto space, or GameFi, right? The problem with this, guys, is that if these narratives are lacking right now, they're likely to continue doing so. It is usually the market leaders, those who rebound the fastest out of a correction, that are going to go on to build new all-time highs. You're going to keep charging forward. We've got to flip that mindset. And I promise you, at the end of the day, more likely than not, you are going to win out. That is one of the key principles in finding market leaders in traditional equities, right? And the same principle applies here for crypto assets as well. So I really think that meme coins, and you can just see how quick, right? Imagine from back here in February, right? You had missed a lot of the prior run up in altcoins, right? This was February 2024, right? And within a month, it went from 21.5 billion all the way up here to around $62 billion. The sector more than tripled. So you didn't even have to, throw the right darts at the right plays. You were in the strongest narrative. You were in the play that was going to lead forward and really make life-changing returns. Not to mention, if you got the right plays and the right, sectors of meme coins, man, some people made some killer returns. So this is really where I think retail is focused right now. It is where institutional capital, whether they would like to admit it or not, there are definitely institutions, both insiders creating these projects, but also VCs and a lot of large players who are also trading these as well. So definitely keep an eye on the meme coin sector from a trading perspective. I do not believe in long-term hodling. You need to have your protection when you're buying these plays. But there are a couple different plays that I wanted to run off here. Overall, at the end of the day, there are some that I like more on a fundamental basis. There are some that I believe are more momentum plays, and I wanted to go ahead and talk about some of those. So first off, as you all know, I like stacks. This is a narrative that we didn't really discuss. It's around Bitcoin infrastructure. Again, at the end of the day, I would wait for this to break through the 200-day. This is one that could easily make a couple, basically from the lows here in this case, could do a 3x against Bitcoin, which would still be 143% rally from where we are at the moment. Fetch as well is another good play that you guys can watch here. Watch this one against its key moving averages. Go ahead and just showcase here again. We need to get above the 200-day. Once that happens, this can really start to break out here. And I want to go obviously ahead and talk about some of the meme coins. Now, a lot of people usually focus on WIF. They're going to focus on Pepe. And I'm not saying these plays can't go up to their prior highs and can't go higher, but I really want to emphasize it is best to focus on plays that are showing the strongest momentum. MOG is one of them, for example. This has been a huge runner. This is already back up close to its all-time highs from back in July. This was one that held up really well during the bear market, or at least during the, sorry, not per se bear market, but during the correction we had over the past couple months. So definitely keep an eye on this one. This is one we wrote about in the Dash report. But beyond that as well, there are a lot of different smaller and mid-cap plays that I definitely think you guys should keep on your radar. If you guys want me to do a video on talking about some of those meme coins, let me know. Drop a comment down below. I'll do a video on some of the meme coin setups. We're going to look for ones that are showcasing strong price action. They give us that momentum. And again, applying that simple strategy of being able to know when to get in and when to get out. Right? That's the simple goal here. I'm not here to get anyone to just hold bags or to just pull meme coins long term. It's one of the worst things you could do here. And know that the people behind these projects in the meme coin sector, while they are doing everything to make the price do what it does, I promise you guys, they are not working in your best interest. So you have to be smart. You have to be cunning. You have to be able to get out of your positions and take profits and be happy with what you got. Don't get greedy. Follow your strategy. Last but not least, I wanted to go ahead and talk about one really important thing here, which is that while I'm signaling that there is some optimism here going on within the crypto space, we are finally seeing optimism in Bitcoin. We're seeing it in altcoins. We're seeing clear narratives emerge as the leaders in the market. I want you guys to bear in mind here to keep your expectations moderate. You might remember earlier I talked about how Bitcoin could go to 90K as our kind of maximum target for this cycle or for this expansion in price before we're going to see some correction. And I know a lot of people would say that, Nick, what are you talking about? Bitcoin could go to 200K according to history. Plan B is telling me Bitcoin's going to go to $500,000. I got to tell you guys, this market is becoming weaker and weaker over time. We have spent no longer period of time throughout crypto's history at a prior all-time high than we have throughout 2024. And while that's great, we're finally springing up here and we're going to have that momentum probably return to the market. chances are we are not going to have very exciting returns. And I've highlighted that before, whether you're doing top to bottom analysis here. For example, in 2015, 2017, we had an 11,200% return, roughly speaking, right? And get that even more accurate here, 11,800. And if we take it here from the lows of the last cycle to the highs, it was an 1,800% return, right? So a huge diminishment of returns. Not to mention, you can also view it in another pattern here if you want to just do top to top analysis, right? So from November 2013 to the 2017 highs, it was 1,500. And along with that, we had an expansion here around 246% from the prior highs in 2017 here to April 2021. My point being is that you can see that there is dramatic diminishment of returns, and people unfortunately are thinking in the past of expectations for crypto. So you need to understand that it could very well just be, from those prior highs, a 35% expansion. That would be in line here with the historic diminishment of returns. So keep that in mind here. It may not be as explosive and as exciting as people are expecting. Doesn't mean you can't make life-changing returns, but they're likely going to be in the altcoin sector, not in Bitcoin. Not to mention, there's another dynamic we got to talk about here, and that is equities. And that is essentially that equities right now, if you're using the major historic indices, are reaching a point in which we have constantly faced resistance that we have never cleared through. This is the ascending line of resistance in the S&P 500. And I know some of you who watch the channel on a religious basis, if you really like watching every Monday upload, if you're also watching some of Russ's content as well, you guys probably have heard, at least me mention, I bet Russ has probably talked about it a little bit as well, this kind of historic channel that the S&P 500 has been in. I like to focus on long-term analysis here because it gives us a lot of pricing data to work with, especially historic significant points of capitulation where there's good buying opportunities, but also points of resistance. We are coming up here on this line of resistance. We are about 150 to, I would say about 150 points away, roughly speaking, from coming up to hit that line here if we, in the next couple of trading days, continue trending the way we are. It could happen in a matter of this week. It could happen next week. Depends on how the price action plays out. But the key point I want to bring up here is that this line of resistance has held. It is an ascending line of resistance. It shows that number goes up and to the right over time, but the number goes up and to the right over time. But the main thing I want to emphasize is that while this could be broken, it has not been broken for over 95 years. So there's a lot of historic significance to this. And if we see a major shoot down against this line of resistance, that is not only going to hit equities, but it's going to likely hit crypto as well. As we're seeing here, equities are rallying higher, crypto's rallying higher. Crypto, whether we like to admit it or not, is a risk-on asset class, and it is on the longer tail of risk end. It is the more riskier asset class, right? Because at the end of the day, it requires high degrees of speculative capital. Again, people being willing to invest in speculative things that don't really have much fundamental value, right? Bitcoin, I understand, is maybe a different story, but the altcoin sector is what I'm really hitting at here. So the key thing above all is to watch how price reacts there, because if we get a solid breakthrough here to like 6,000 points, if we get a massive breakthrough here and we really start having a dot-com bubble styled rally due to AI and the estimated productivity growth that's going to come from it, we really enter into a kind of euphoric bubble like in the late 90s, then in that case, it may be time to open up the champagne, have a great time, and really just take as much risk as we can in the market. Right? Keep an eye here on the NASDAQ as well, another historic line, much shorter of course, but here since the dot-com bubble, as well as the highs in November 2021, we can see that this level is significant because in July we faced resistance here, but we bounced off the 200-day. We've recovered nicely since back in August, right? Up a couple thousand points here. And now it's a matter of, can we clear through that? Because if we can, then that can mean the NASDAQ has got a long way to go here, that we really could be in for another major run up here towards, really something crazy and stuff over the next couple of years, something in the 25 to 30,000 point range. Again, I'm not saying it's going to be a straight line. I'm not saying that that's what I'm betting on. What I'm saying here is if we get the clear through on that line, that is the more likely scenario according to history. So when you break something so significant like this historic resistance, that's going to really give the green light that momentum is here to stay, and that you're going to get more of, instead of testing the 200 week very frequently, you're going to break away and you're just going to continue rallying and have really that euphoric run up. And again, we saw in the dot-com bubble in the 1990s, in October, that quarter of October 1999, we saw a 48% move in the NASDAQ. I'm not saying we're going to see that, but we could definitely see 10-15% quarter, and considering already that we're at all-time highs in the Nasdaq, broadly speaking, that's pretty freaking amazing. That shows that there's potentially going to be a lot of optimism coming in. And again, at the end of the day, it depends on NVIDIA. It depends on NVIDIA because it is sitting alongside Apple and Microsoft as the largest company in the world at $3.3 trillion. It's had a great recovery, didn't even touch the 200-day, and has come back here pretty much to the prior highs. If that, as well as the SMH ETF, the VanEck Semiconductor ETF, if these general broad sector plays in the semiconductor sector continue showing optimism, continue showing that there's going to be increased automation and AI implementation in systems, then in this case, there could be a lot of opportunity in the market. And not just in stocks, but also in crypto as well. So keep an eye on these different plays, guys. Make sure to focus on the momentum. Make sure you have your protective measures in place so you don't lose all your capital in the case that things start to go down. I don't want to speak in absolutes here, guys. There's a lot of people who may start to agree with me that we're in an uptrend, that we have an opportunity to really kick things off, but they don't have those protections in place. I definitely recommend you guys play it safe here and keep your eyes on the prize. Something much more conservative, something not as exciting, but still something that is going to give you an opportunity to capture some major altcoin opportunities. That's what I'm excited about, and I hope you guys are excited about it as well and can focus on where that opportunity lies in the market. That's it for today's video, guys. I rambled on a good amount here today. If you enjoyed this video, consider dropping a like. It's a great way to support the channel. Again, you can always check out Altfins down below in the description. It's a really cool platform. Try some of their free features. They let you already do some really cool things in the free plan. Give it a shot. If you like it, use the DataDash code to get a discount of 50% off on any of the subscription plans. But that's it for today's video, everyone. I hope you guys are having a fantastic one wherever you are, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care, everyone.